Hey there, welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, as always, I greatly appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. And we have an interesting one and a loaded show coming up here on today's program. Could the Niners trade for Maxx Crosby? Some conversations starting to pick up across the NFL pertaining to some blockbuster NFL trade targets after Amari Cooper just got traded to the Bills and Davante Adams got traded to the Jets. Could Maxx Crosby be the next superstar player who gets dealt and another big piece that the Raiders decide to move? The Jets have given Haason Reddick, another edge rusher, permission to seek a trade. So we'll talk about that as well and whether or not he makes sense for the Niners and San Francisco making a roster move. Could they have their third kicker in 3 games as they added a kicker to the practice squad? All of that on the docket for the show. But before we dive in, if you want daily Niners shows, hit that subscribe button right now and help us out. This is already the largest independently run Niners channel right here on YouTube, and it's the biggest Niners channel on the entire planet. But we're 558 people away from 146,000 subscribers. Can we get there with this video? I promise you, we won't let you down with our coverage, analysis, news, rumors, reports, live shows, watch parties. We do it all in an informative, entertaining, insightful, thought-provoking way. So I hope that you hit that sub button and you join the movement here on the Niners Report. So let's begin with this question. Will the San Francisco 49ers go all in as we approach the NFL trade deadline, which is coming up in a couple of weeks? The Niners have $54.4 million in cap space per over the cap. That is the most in the National Football League. And you think about where the Niners are as a team. Outside of offensive line help, which is really hard to add at the NFL trade deadline because all teams across the league are trying to bulk up their offensive lines and look for offensive linemen. What are the Niners' biggest needs? Defensive line help, stopping the run at defensive tackle, and rushing the passer, which is why Maxx Crosby becomes a fascinating trade target for the San Francisco 49ers if general manager John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan want to go all in. And if I'm John Lynch, Maxx Crosby is the blockbuster trade candidate that I'm looking at after the Raiders traded away Davante Adams. Here's why it could make sense. Will Las Vegas fully sell? They already traded away Davante Adams for a third-round pick, which can become a second, but most likely due to the terms of that trade, it's not going to become a second-round pick. And the Raiders could look to trade another star player in Maxx Crosby on top of Davante Adams so that they can stockpile picks. They're going to be bad this year. They're already a bad football team. So could Las Vegas use all of those picks by trading away some of their stars to then compile those picks to move up to get a franchise quarterback, and they haven't had a franchise quarterback in a very long time. And for San Francisco, Maxx Crosby checks off a couple of boxes. He's an elite player who would be a great edge rusher opposite of Nick Bosa, and over the next couple of years, he's pretty affordable, even though the Niners have the most cap space in the NFL. This year, $30 million dead cap charge with the $24.5 million base salary. In 2025, cap hit of $28.2 million and a base salary of $22.2. In 2026, dead cap hit of $24.8 million and the base $18.8. The new team would acquire Maxx Crosby and probably have to give up some sizable draft compensation. And in 2024, he'd be due $16.8 million. $16 million is guaranteed. But in 2025, $23.1 million is non-guaranteed. And in 2026, $19.7 million is non-guaranteed. And Las Vegas, the dead cap charge in 2024 would be 13.6, and in 2025 would be 10.2. So Maxx Crosby is a pretty affordable player who is a really dynamic player, a very valuable player, and throughout his career, he has been one of the top edge rushers in the National Football League. And I'm telling you this, if opposing offenses have to prepare to go up against a Niners defense, which has Nick Bosa at one defensive end spot and Maxx Crosby at the other defensive end spot. That's scary hours for the opposing offense because these are two of the best and most productive edge players in the National Football League, and both play with a relentless motor, and they have a plethora of pass rushing moves in order to get after the quarterback, and they're pretty good run stoppers as well. Crosby, throughout his career, he's really burst onto the scene since being a mid to late round pick, and he's put together just a fantastic career. In 88 games, he's notched 57.5 sacks, 134 quarterback hits, 97 TFLs, and 20 pass breakups. And over his last 4 years, including this year, in which he's played 5 games, those numbers have continued. So there's been consistency with the production as well. 5.5 sacks this year in those 5 games, 10 quarterback hits, 9 TFLs, and 2 pass breakups. And in the previous 2 years, 14.5, 12.5 sacks, and going back to 2021, 8 sacks. You'd have Bosa the Bear and Maxx Crosby the Condor. And I know that Maxx Crosby is the heartbeat of the Las Vegas Raiders. He's the face of that organization. He got Raiders tatted on him. And he is a marquee player for what they stand for as an organization. And he has said he never wants to leave the Las Vegas Raiders. But now he's looking around in that locker room and he's saying, we don't have a quarterback. We're on our way to another losing season. Antonio Pierce is not a head coach in this league. We just traded away Devontae Adams for a third-round pick that's going to make our team worse. What is the future of this team? And do I want to allow my career to go by the wayside with Las Vegas? San Francisco can save him from that dumpster fire organization. And finally, for the first time in his life, he'll understand what it feels like to play for a well-run organization that has structure and stability, that wins. And that is very intriguing for any player across the NFL. The 49ers also have some draft picks that they could give up and surrender in a trade with the Raiders. They have their own first in 2025, their own second, their own third, their own fourth, a fifth, sixth, seventh round pick. That's 7 total picks for the Niners. Would you be willing to give away a first round pick for Maxx Crosby who could help you now and in the future? I'd be intrigued by that. So with that, today's poll question is this: should the 49ers trade for Maxx Crosby? Type T for trade, P for pass. Let me know down in the comment section right now. So Maxx Crosby, that was topic number 1. Topic number 2, could the Niners make a move for Haason Reddick, who's older but more affordable? Also, San Francisco making a roster move as they have signed a kicker because Matthew Wright's status going into this Week 7 game against the Kansas City Chiefs is in question after suffering that shoulder injury against Seattle on Thursday Night Football. Really want to say thank you to PXG for sponsoring today's Niners Report. And a couple of weeks ago, we told you about the deal that PXG was offering. We have a new deal that we want to tell you about. $10 off per club at pxg.com/chat. So now we have an exclusive link that you can utilize and use to your advantage. Look, when I'm not on air talking football, I love hitting the golf course. It's a way for me to unplug. I also like being competitive and testing out my athletic skills and improving in something that's not broadcasting. So I'm always looking to improve my golf game, hit the ball straighter, further, not having to worry about trying to hit everything perfect, to make a good shot, all of it. So I'm heading over for a fitting once again at a PXG location near me, and I'm upgrading the clubs in my bag. Here's why PXG clubs are the best. The Gen 7 irons, 10 years in the making. New PXG Gen 7 irons are the greatest leap forward in technology and performance in PXG history. The Black Ops irons, they deliver a breakthrough in game improvement with new PXG Black Ops. And the Irons Challenge has had over 1,200 entrants so far, beating competition in distance or dispersion with the current win rate of 100%. So upgrade your bag with PXG clubs and take your game to a whole new level. And here you go. For a limited time only, you see my PXG clubs on screen right here, you can save $10 per club. So head over to pxg.com/chat, use the code chat, that's pxg.com/chat, and use the code chat to save $10 per club on your order. pxg.com, code chat. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. And there are hundreds of locations nationwide where you can go in and take the PXG Irons Challenge, where you can get a club fitting, an incredible experience for me because you have access to an instructor and then all of this data to improve your golf game, your swing, exit velocity, ball carry, club face movement, 200 plus locations to visit. There's one in East Bay, Dublin, California, so be sure to check that out. Orange County and Huntington Beach, California, for those of you in SoCal. Stone Tree Golf Club in Novato, California. Hundreds more nationally. pxg.com/chat. Use the code chat. $10 off per club. Thanks to PXG for sponsoring today's show. Let's next go to Haason Reddick. So Diana Rossini with the news this morning that the New York Jets, coming off that loss last night against the Buffalo Bills, have given Reddick and his reps a short window to seek a trade. His new representation, Drew Rosenhaus, has been reaching out to teams over the last 12 hours to gauge interest. Reddick is the only player in the NFL still holding out as we embark on Week 7. His agency, CAA, let him go, so he decided to hire one of the most well-known agents in the game in Drew Rosenhaus. He's currently in the final year of his 3-year, $45 million contract that he signed with Philadelphia going into the 2022 season, but that last year is non-guaranteed. So that's an issue for Reddick. Long-term financial commitment and stability is an issue for Haason Reddick. And when you compare these two edge rushers that we've been talking about on today's show, you have Crosby, who's 27, Reddick, who's 30 years old. So I think Reddick would be the more affordable trade option for a team like the Niners, but he's been highly productive. Over his last 4 years, he's been one of the best players in the NFL as far as sack production. In 2020, that's really when he started to find his stride after being a first-round pick by Arizona. He had 12.5 sacks his final year in the desert. He goes to Carolina, and he has 11 sacks after he signed a 1-year deal. The year that the Eagles made the run to the Super Bowl, 16 sacks. And then last year, it was like somewhat of a down year for him, but he had 11 sacks. He's a classic twitch, speed, bend edge rusher off that edge who has a really good and fast get-off. And the same can be said for Nick Bosa. Fastest get-off in the NFL belongs to Bosa this year. And the most sacks in the last 4 years. This is going into the 2024 season, so not including what these players have done this year. But look at where Reddick was going into 2024. This is why he wants to get paid. This is why he wants more guaranteed money. TJ Watt at 48, Myles Garrett at 47, Bosa at 44.5, Micah Parsons at 41.5, Trey Hendrickson at 39.5. You have Reddick there at 38, ahead of Chris Jones, ahead of Maxx Crosby by 2, Danielle Hunter with 33, and Khalil Mack at 32.5. So because the holdout has lasted so long, because he's an older player, the price tag isn't going to be as high as Crosby. I'd put it at around a 4th-round pick for Reddick, whereas the Raiders might want to get a 1st or a 2nd-round pick back for Maxx Crosby. So pick an edge rusher here who you would want the Niners to target between Reddick and Crosby, 2 of the better players over the last 4 years with getting after the quarterback. HR or MC, sound off with what you think down in the comment section. And then lastly, Niners making that roster move in signing Anders Carlson. He has been signed to the practice squad with Matthew Wright hurt. So against Seattle, Matthew Wright, after another special teams blunder, had to make a tackle. He popped the shoulder out, dislocated it, popped it back in. He is day-to-day right now going into this game against Kansas City. During the Monday practice session, he didn't practice. So day-to-day as we approach this game, the Niners had to do something. They had worked out Anders Carlson prior to signing Matthew Wright once Jake Moody got hurt. So they have familiarity with the kicker here. They're adding him to the practice squad, and in case Matthew Wright can't go, they'll elevate Carlson to the active roster to kick against the Chiefs. He was a 6th-round pick in 2023 by Green Bay out of Auburn. last year he struggled. He was 34 of 39 on extra points, 87.2%. I believe Jake Moody did not miss an extra point last year in the regular season. He was 27 of 33 on field goals, 81.8%. That's not great either. 3 of 5 on 50 plus. And in the divisional round, he had big misses against the Niners. An extra point and a field goal, which helped to tilt that game in the favor of San Francisco. So when he was at Auburn, a reason why he got drafted in the 6th round, his brother, Daniel Carlson, one of the top kickers in the game for the Las Vegas Raiders. So he's got the genes, has a huge leg, but that big leg didn't translate to him being accurate last year. Packers let him go, didn't bring him back. A year after they drafted him, they said, we're done with the player. Hasn't been able to latch on with the team, and the inaccuracy, a big reason why. But the Niners, desperate times call for desperate measures. They could very well have their third kicker in 3 games after that Jake Moody injury. So give me a follow on X and Instagram before we hop on out of here. It's at Chase_Senior. A lot of Niner short form content that I put up on my social media pages, in addition to the long form content here on the show. And don't forget to hit that sub button.